Imagine this. You're dating, everything feels great, and then she asks you for money. Suddenly, you're caught between your desire to please her and your fear of being taken advantage of. Too many men cave in, thinking it will keep her close. But what actually happens? She respects you less, tests you more, and keeps draining until you're empty. That's the real cost of saying yes. But here's the twist. Saying no doesn't have to end the relationship. In fact, if you do it the right way, it can make her more attracted to you. In this video, I'm giving you 5 strategies to say no to her financial demands and still keep her drawn to you. Before we go deeper, take a quick second, subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment below. Let me know with a simple yes or no. Have you ever felt trapped by a money request in a relationship? Your honesty matters here. Because in just a moment, I'll show you the very first mistake men make that invites these requests again and again. Number 1. Stop showing your wallet before she earns the right to see it. Let's be real. Most men don't get trapped by a woman asking for money out of nowhere. They walk into the trap with their chest out, their car keys flashing, and their mouth bragging about how much they make. You might think you're proving your value as a man when you lead with what you own. But here's the truth. What you're really doing is sending a signal that says, "This man is a bottomless ATM with legs." And once that message is out, you can't take it back. Why do so many men fall into this? Because deep down, you want to impress. You've been told that success is attractive, so you go all in, showing her the nice house, the big salary, the shiny car. And yes, success does matter. But when you showcase it too early, too loudly, you're not just showing her you're stable. You're painting a giant dollar sign on your forehead. From her perspective, you didn't just say, "I'm successful." You said, "I'm available for financial requests." Here's the psychological play. Women interpret signals. When you casually drop what you make, what you drive, or where you live, she doesn't just hear status. She hears resources. And resources to the wrong woman mean opportunity. Not opportunity to build a life with you, but opportunity to test how much of your life she can consume. Men don't like to admit it. But often, when she asks you for money, it's not because she's shameless. It's because you gave her the green light. You taught her that your worth is measured in what you can provide financially. You trained her to believe it's acceptable. And when you try to say no later, she sees it as you going back on a promise. But in reality, the promise was only in her head, created by your need to impress. You need to hear this. A woman who is genuinely interested in you doesn't need to know your bank balance on date 1. She doesn't need to step into your luxury apartment to decide if she respects you. If she's worth your time, she's focused on who you are, not what you can buy. And if she loses interest because you didn't lead with your wallet, congratulations. You just avoided a very expensive mistake. So what do you do instead? Keep your financial cards close to your chest. Be proud of your achievements, but don't use them as bait. Let her see your discipline, your character, your vision for life. That's what a mature woman finds attractive. The right woman is inspired by your mindset, not your material possessions. And when she stays, it's because she values your presence, not your paycheck. Here's the painful reality check. If she disappears the moment you stop flexing, she wasn't in it for you anyway. That's not rejection. That's revelation. She just saved you from years of playing provider to someone who was never planning to give back. Never forget, you are not her sponsor. You are not her financial safety net. And if the first thing she sees in you is money, then the last thing she'll ever respect in you is your manhood. Guard your wallet like you guard your dignity. Because once you show her the cash before showing her your core, you've already told her what matters most to you. And the wrong woman will make sure that becomes what matters most to her too. Number 2, teach her to create her own value, but know when compassion matters. When a woman asks you for money, most men think they only have 2 choices, hand it over and feel used, or refuse and risk losing her. But there's a smarter path, and it begins with understanding that not all requests are the same. Some are emergencies, others are luxuries. And if you treat them all as one, you either become a cold machine or a bottomless ATM. Neither earns respect. Let's start with reality. If your girlfriend is stranded because her car broke down and she needs it to get to work, dismissing her with a speech about finding independence isn't leadership, it's arrogance. In those moments, empathy matters. You can choose to help, knowing it's a genuine crisis. But here's the catch. Even when you help, you must frame it correctly. Make it clear this isn't about you being her permanent solution. It's about supporting her through an urgent bump in the road. Once the crisis is handled, you reset the boundaries. But what about the other kind of request? The kind that's not about rent, or food, or transportation. The kind that's about just this one little thing. Again and again. The endless stream of hair appointments, shopping splurges, or nights out. That's when you're not dealing with survival. You're dealing with dependency. And that's when your role shifts. You stop being the provider and you become the challenger. Here's where most men stumble. They confuse generosity with responsibility. Handing over money for luxuries doesn't prove love. It proves you can be manipulated. And when that becomes the rhythm of the relationship, attraction dies. Because deep down, she doesn't respect a man who always gives in. She respects a man who shows her she's capable of more. So instead of saying no in frustration or yes in weakness, redirect. Say, I know you can handle this yourself, and here's how. Maybe that means suggesting ways she can cut costs. Maybe it's encouraging her to explore a side hustle. Maybe it's helping her think through alternatives. You're not humiliating her. You're empowering her. But here's the nuance. You only use this approach when the request is non-essential. When it's about wants, not needs. That's where you draw the line. From a psychological standpoint, this shift is powerful. Human beings value what they earn more than what they're given. If she learns she can solve problems without leaning on you, her pride grows, and so does her respect for you. She sees you not as a provider to exploit, but as a leader who refuses to let her settle for weakness. And that shift either strengthens the bond or exposes that she was never really in it for you. Now let's address the fear. What if she gets angry? What if she calls you selfish? That's the test. If her affection depends entirely on how much you fund her lifestyle, then she's not looking for a man, she's looking for a sponsor. And better you find that out early than waste years financing someone who never intended to build with you. Here's the bottom line. Know the difference. If it's a genuine crisis, show compassion. If it's a luxury disguised as a need, show boundaries. Either way, you're teaching her something. You're teaching her that your money is not an endless resource and your respect cannot be bought. The right woman will rise to that challenge. The wrong woman will walk away. And in both cases, you win. Because you either gain a partner or you stop a one-way drain. Number 3. Use the 24-hour rule to take back control. One of the oldest tricks in the book is urgency. When someone wants to manipulate you, they rarely say, take your time. Instead, they push hard with lines like, I need it now. Or, if I don't get this money today, everything will fall apart. And too many men crumble under that pressure. They hand over cash, not because they wanted to, but because they felt forced. That's not love. That's emotional blackmail disguised as a request. Here's where the 24-hour rule comes in. It's simple. Whenever she asks you for money, never give her an answer on the spot. You tell her calmly and directly, let me think about it, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. That's it. No excuses, no apologies, just space. And what that space gives you is priceless. Clarity. Why does this work? Because urgency is a weapon used against your emotions. When you feel rushed, you're less likely to think logically. you're more likely to act out of guilt, fear, or the desire to keep her happy in the moment. But when you pause for 24 hours, your brain resets. You get to ask the questions you usually ignore. Does she really need this money? Is this a genuine emergency? Or is it just another attempt to test how far she can push me? Can I afford this without breaking my own plans and responsibilities? By tomorrow, the fog clears, and the answer becomes obvious. There's also a deeper layer here. When you delay your answer, you send a message. You are not controlled by her urgency. You show her that you value your own judgment more than her pressure. That kind of self-control is rare, and it's magnetic. It shifts the dynamic. Suddenly, you're not the man scrambling to please. You're the man who moves on his own terms. And whether she admits it or not, women respect men who can't be manipulated by panic. Now, let's be practical. What happens when you come back after 24 hours and your answer is no? Don't just say, I can't. Frame it in a way that shows you thought it through. For example, I was expecting money owed to me, but it didn't come through, so I can't help right now. This isn't about lying. It's about reinforcing that your decision wasn't impulsive. You considered it, you weighed it, and your no carries authority. She may not like it, but she'll know you're not a pushover. And what if she gets angry at the delay? What if she pressures you harder or even threatens to leave? That's when the test reveals itself. Because if she can't handle waiting a single day, then what she's really saying is, your role is to obey me instantly, no questions asked. And a woman who treats you like that doesn't want a partner. She wants a servant. The sooner you see that, the sooner you can step out of a relationship built on control, not respect. Think of it this way. Money can always be replaced. Self-respect cannot. Every time you let someone rush you into a decision, you're selling off a piece of that self-respect. But when you enforce the 24-hour rule, you're buying it back. You're proving to yourself that you don't bend just because someone raises the pressure. That's power. That's control. And control is exactly what keeps attraction alive. So next time she asks for money and demands an immediate answer, take a breath, hold your ground and say, I'll let you know tomorrow. If she respects you, she'll accept it. If she doesn't, then you've just uncovered the truth about what she really wanted from you. Either way, you win. Number 4. Show support in ways that don't involve cash, but only when it makes sense. Here's something most men overlook. Not every money request is the same. Some are about survival. Others are about comfort. And if you treat them all the same, you either look heartless or naive. That's why the real skill is knowing when you can replace money with presence and when you can't. Think about it. If she asks for money to get her nails done or to cover a night out, you don't need to open your wallet. That's not about survival. That's about preference. And in those cases, showing support without spending is powerful. Drive her to the salon. Cook a meal together instead of paying for a restaurant. Offer time, energy, and creativity instead of cash. These gestures remind her that your care isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in attention. And often, that's what she's really craving. Not the money, but proof that she matters. From a psychological perspective, this is smart. Writing a check is easy. Anyone with money can do that. But showing up, finding solutions, and giving her presence speaks louder. It says, I care about you, but I won't let you control my finances. And that's a boundary that earns respect. Because the woman who gets upset when you offer non-financial support isn't upset about your care. She's upset that she can't control your wallet. But let's address the gap the fantasy misses. What if it's not about hair or groceries? What if it's about rent? What if she's about to lose her apartment? That's when the strategy shifts. Because offering to cook dinner together, while she faces eviction isn't just useless, it's insulting. There's a difference between discretionary wants and urgent needs, and you must separate the two. If it's survival, you evaluate differently. Ask yourself, is this a one-time emergency or part of a recurring pattern? If it's a crisis caused by bad luck, you can choose to step in, with clear boundaries about what it means. If it's a crisis caused by constant irresponsibility, that's not your burden to fix. So here's the balance. Small, non-essential asks are where you pivot to alternative support. That's where you prove care without being controlled. Big, essential asks are where you decide, is this the kind of partner I want to carry through a storm? Or is this someone who creates storms for me to clean up? The difference matters because your answer reveals whether you're building with her or being drained by her. Now here's the high point. When you separate wants from needs, you stop feeling guilty. You stop thinking, if I don't pay, I don't care. You realize that saying no to luxuries is not rejection, it's leadership. And saying yes to a genuine emergency doesn't make you a pushover, it makes you compassionate. That's the nuance most men miss. It's not about never helping, it's about knowing when help is support and when help is surrender. So next time she asks, pause. Ask yourself, is this survival or is this comfort? If it's comfort, offer presence instead of cash. If it's survival, decide if the crisis is worth stepping into. Either way, you win, because you're not just reacting, you're leading. And leadership is what keeps respect alive. Number 5, be firm and tell her to handle her own responsibilities. There comes a point when patience and alternatives are no longer enough. If a woman keeps coming back with her hand out, despite your boundaries, then it's time for a hard truth. You are not her safety net, and you are not her bank. If she's holding the latest phone, wearing designer bags, and posting glamorous nights out while asking you to cover her urgent needs, then you already know what's going on. She's not broke. She's irresponsible. And that's not your burden to carry. This is where many men hesitate. They worry, if I tell her to figure it out on her own, won't she think I'm cold? Won't she leave? But let's stop pretending. If the only thing keeping her around is your money, then she was never truly with you to begin with. And isn't it better to know that now, before years of draining your bank account, your energy, and your peace of mind? The most respectful thing you can do for both of you is to be direct. Say, if this is really that important, maybe you should sell something you don't need or cut back on unnecessary spending. That's not cruelty. That's accountability. It forces her to face reality. Grown adults handle their priorities before their luxuries. And if she can't accept that, then she doesn't want a partner. She wants a sponsor. Psychologically, this matters because attraction is built on respect. When you allow her to treat you like a safety net, you lose her respect piece by piece. She may enjoy the benefits, but she won't admire you. And when admiration dies, attraction soon follows. But when you stand firm, when you make it clear that you will not fund irresponsibility, something shifts. The wrong woman will vanish, but the right woman will step up. She may be surprised at first, but deep down, she'll respect that you expect her to own her life, just as you own yours. Think of the bigger picture. A relationship is supposed to be a partnership, not a one-way street. If she can't carry her own weight now, when it's just about a few bills or personal expenses, what will happen when life really tests you? What happens when marriage, kids, or major setbacks enter the picture? Will she lean in and fight with you, or lean back and wait for you to fix everything while she spends freely? That answer begins with how she responds when you finally say, "Handle it yourself." This isn't about being stingy. This is about protecting your dignity and your future. Money can always be earned again, but wasted years with the wrong woman are gone forever. You need to ask yourself, do I want a partner who respects me or a dependent who drains me? Because once you draw the line, you'll see the truth clearly. If she throws a tantrum, calls you selfish, or threatens to leave, then her mask just slipped. And that's a good thing. Better to lose her now than to waste your life trying to satisfy a bottomless appetite. So the next time she comes with another request, look her in the eye and say, I can't keep funding this. You need to figure it out. If she stays and takes responsibility, you've gained a stronger bond. If she walks, you've gained your freedom. Either way, you win. Let's put everything on the table. If a woman measures you only by the money you hand her, then she never truly wanted you. She wanted what you could provide. That isn't love. That isn't partnership. That's a transaction dressed up as romance. And you deserve more than that. You've seen 5 ways to break free from this trap without losing your self-respect. Don't advertise your wallet before she earns the right to know what's inside. Challenge her to create her own value instead of draining yours. Use the 24-hour rule to slow down manipulation and reclaim control. Show care through presence and support, not cash. And when necessary, be firm enough to say, handle it yourself. Each of these moves isn't just about money. It's about protecting your dignity, your peace, and your future. The truth is, real women respect limits. The right woman doesn't want to turn you into an ATM with feelings. She wants to grow with you, not off you. And when you set these boundaries, you don't just filter out the wrong woman. You attract the right one. Because strength, clarity, and self-respect are magnetic. They're the qualities that separate a man she uses from a man she admires. Now it's your turn. If this message hit home, subscribe for more strategies on how to recognize manipulation and stay in control of your relationships. Drop a comment with your own experience because you're not alone and your story might wake another man up. And don't forget to like and share this video so more men can stop being emotional ATMs and start being respected partners. Never forget, money can buy many things, but it cannot buy respect. And if you have to pay to keep her, you never really had her in the first place.